St. Andrew's Sewanee School. Challenge, balance, and joy.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
An SEC tournament as there has been in a long time.
We're good now.
Okay. Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on a beautiful Monday afternoon in a week that has all kinds of stuff going on. SEC tournament rolls into town Wednesday, and it's probably the most anticipated SEC tournament that I can ever remember. You've got all this NFL free agency that's going on. I want to take a minute, speaking of football, and congratulate a good friend, Eddie George, Titan legend, now the new head coach at Bowling Green University up in Ohio. And I have no doubt that Eddie will knock it dead up there. This is a guy that's got a lot of ability in a lot of areas. And they're going to find that out when he gets up there and replaces Scott Loeffler. So let's see what else. We're going to salute Lipscomb University in just a few minutes. Lennie Acuff is going to join us. Should be the happiest man in town. He's also one of the classiest. When you hear kind of this, oh, we're not supposed to root for anybody in media, screw that. I was rooting big time for Lennie Acuff yesterday, as was Kelly Holcomb, who joins us from Murfreesboro. Kelly, that was pretty cool stuff yesterday.
That was cool, man. My wife was on edge. You said you were on edge. Everybody in the building was on. That's the way a championship is supposed to be, though. It's supposed to be a back and forth deal, and if you're the team that ends up winning, you want to win it. You don't want the other team. Sometimes the other team just totally collapses, but you want to fight a battle to the end. And, hey, it was a battle to the end. It was about 4 minutes left, and it was close. And then all of a sudden, they started missing some shots, and Lipscomb started getting some defensive stops. And then Lipscomb started making shots. So that's when you want to make them at the end of the game. And that was I was happy, obviously, for my soon-to-be son-in-law. I was happy for him that they've got an opportunity now to go to the NCAA tournament, and who knows? All you ask for is a chance, and they got a pretty good basketball team.
Billy, could we show Plaster Vision at this point?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
For those watching on the podcast.
Yeah, this will be about a minute and a half. If you're watching the podcast,
why am I in the middle?
It'll make sense. I don't know. God knows we didn't need that.
That's on you.
Yeah, no one else to blame. But Plaster Vision was alive and well yesterday at the very end. First of all, kudos to the fire marshal for staying away from Allen Arena yesterday. The place holds 5, and I'm guessing that there were 5,500 in there because
a lot.
You looked around. You know, I tried to count empty seats in sections. And there were a couple of sections where I was like, there are no empty seats.
No.
It was as standing room only as it gets. Billy, go ahead. Let the crowd noise play into it.
It's not up yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm looking at a picture. To my knowledge, and I may not be right about this, Lipscomb sold out the first game ever in Allen Arena when North Texas was there. They sold out Liberty a few years ago in this same win and you're in or lose and you're not. And then yesterday, and as those of you watching the podcast can tell, the place was jam-packed. And if I do say so, the cameraman did an excellent job. Don't you think, Billy?
That's pretty good. I got a 20-second video, but mine wasn't moving, so you got some better looks at the crowd. But I mean, you can see how packed it was in there. I've never seen it like that. I mean, I've been to games there before, but it was also loud. North Alabama
brought a bunch.
They brought. I looked at their student section. I was like, "That's Lipscomb students, right?" That's what I thought for like a good minute or two. But I realized they're all wearing black. But I mean, that's what made it such a good environment.
Yeah. And Kelly, you're right about how a championship game ought to be played on the mid-major level. A lot of the games do this. In fact, when Taylor Barnette joins us today at 4, we'll talk about his experience a little bit, because his mid-major title game came down to him having to hit a 3 to get his team to the NCAA tournament, and he did.
Wow. That's obviously a memory that he'll never forget. But it's fun to see games like that. You know, I know everybody's uptight, and you know, North Alabama beat them last year on a game-winning shot that was crazy, and that's kind of Lipscomb's arch nemesis. And I just, you know, I told you yesterday, you either make the play or you don't. That's what I've tried to tell my kids. Sometimes you don't. A lot of times you do, hopefully. But, you know, that's what it's about. And, you know, those guys, not everybody can do it. That's why you only got a few playing sports. And, you know, sometimes you come up short, but yesterday they did not, which I'm really happy for.
Joe Anderson, I mean, without him, but you know, it wasn't just him though. I mean, Jossie Powell had some big shots. Will Pruitt, like you said, Kelly had some. I mean, he's physical and had a few possessions straight where, you know, that missed 3 and the rebound was massive. Because that hit the back rim, and you thought, you know, because you felt like he needed to hit that shot. But when he got the rebound, got fouled, hit the free throws, it was just a great finish, great game. And, you know, you knew after that Anderson 3, I think extended to 10, I think it was. That was it. Yeah.
Place went nuts.
And by the way, they had the ASUN commissioner on. I went back and watched some of the game. And the announcers were like, so explain this move to go away from an environment like this. And it wasn't the best explanation. It's basically just, you know, we've got everybody in one place. They got the men's and women's. Like, you can't replicate that.
2 words.
No.
It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, totally
first
agree.
Of all, if you're going to do it in Nashville, for God's sakes. Jacksonville? I mean, again, when I think Lexington, Kentucky, Bloomington, Indiana, you know, the great meccas of basketball, Jacksonville didn't come up in the conversation a lot. I'm just saying.
Or Atlanta, like Kennesaw State. We used to go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And like Atlanta or Nashville because you've got the ASUN is spread out so much. I mean, they're from Kentucky all the way to Florida. They got Georgia. They got everywhere. So I just, you know, I'm with you, George. Like, I don't understand why you would do that, why you would take it to Jacksonville or just one place, because you're not going to get what you had yesterday. Like, if Lipscomb makes the championship games next year, you're not going to – there's going to be some folks, and they're going to travel a little bit, but it's not going to be like it was yesterday.
One word now. Dumb. You got an update of any substance whatsoever?
I do.
Okay.
It's brought to you by Lori Barnette Leland. You can find her online, mortgageladyyusa.com, or give her a call, 615-969-4350. We've got Lipscomb hashed out. We'll see what seed they get next Sunday for Selection Sunday. Also in the Missouri Valley on Saturday, Belmont had a tight loss to Drake. I was watching the end of that. Casey Alexander got teed up late in that game because of a foul call that he wasn't happy with, and they lost by 7. I mean, that was a close game really all the way throughout. Belmont jumped out to a pretty big first half lead, but Drake came storming back in the second half, and Drake yesterday ends up rolling over Bradley 63-48 to win the MVC tournament.
Drake's really good.
They are.
This just in. And Belmont, I hope it gets some level of postseason consideration, NIT, the Fox thing, whatever. That's a good basketball team. Casey did a really good job of reconstructing after the guts got ripped out of it in April. He really did.
Yeah. Also, we have a new number one in college basketball after Auburn's loss, second straight loss to Alabama there at Neville Arena. Duke overtakes them at number one. Houston is at number two. Auburn falls back to number three in the AP poll. So
2 losses in a row.
That'll do it. Tennessee at number 8. I think they moved back as well, even though they beat South Carolina. They did have the loss to Ole Miss. So you've got, look at that. You've got Auburn, Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee all in the top 10 there in the SEC. Also tonight, we've got a couple of conference tournament finals. The Sun Belt final at 6 o'clock, Arkansas State and Troy. Also at 6, the SoCon final, Wofford and Furman. Furman beat Chattanooga yesterday in what was an upset. Chattanooga was the number 1 seed in that tournament, and they knocked off Chattanooga. Furman was the 5. And Wofford
so it's the 5 and the 6 in the final.
Yeah, Wofford knocked off Samford and Bucky McMillan yesterday, and Samford was the 3 seed. So that SoCon tournament's nuts every year.
It is.
So you've got a couple of finals there tonight. As you said, George, the SEC tournament bracket is set. We'll get heavy into this, but there's a look at the bracket. Vanderbilt is the 12 seed. They will play 13 seed Texas on Wednesday, approximately 2:30. Tennessee, the 4, they won't play till Friday.
You know what's interesting? Vandy is a 12 seed in their league and a 9 in the NCAA tournament.
I got a text from somebody saying Vandy's the best 12th place team in any league ever.
Kelly, I have a question.
Yeah.
Let's just say Auburn's the 1 seed, as you can see. Let's say that some team, Georgia, let's say Georgia upsets the number 1 ranked team in the SEC and the 3rd ranked team overall. At the SEC tournament, if the Georgia fans storm the court, does the SEC fine itself?
That's a great question.
I knew where you were going with that. I couldn't care less, and I don't know. Who cares?
Somebody sent
I didn't realize they fined Georgia for that.
For what?
Or no, was it Georgia who had the upset? Ole Miss, actually. They fined Ole Miss. It wasn't Georgia. It was Ole Miss.
Fined them $500,000.
But apparently that was because some kids, it wasn't all the students waited normally, like you're supposed to, waited the minute or whatever. But apparently it was because of some kids ran on the floor.
The kids felt like it just meant more.
Just means more.
Just trying to protect the kids, Billy. You know what
it's
I'm saying?
for the kids.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't realize that. But there's your SEC tournament bracket. Also, latest bracketology, at least from yesterday, from Joe Lenardi. There's your bubble. Oklahoma, last 4 in. Texas, first 4 out after the Sooners beat Texas in Austin on Saturday night. It's not looking good for Rodney Terry, especially if he loses to Vandy.
No, if that Texas job comes open, be some pretty big names going after that.
Yeah. Also, Vandy still projected as a 9 seed paired with 8 seed UConn in the East region, and Raleigh paired with 1 seed Duke, and then Tennessee as a 2 also in the East region in Cleveland. So we'll see if Tennessee can improve their seeding at all in the SEC tournament. You mentioned the Eddie George news. I was going to get to that. He returns to the state of Ohio, to Bowling Green. So congrats to him. AD Mickey Allen will be the interim until they find a replacement for Eddie George there. Also, bunch of NFL notes here. I'm going to try to rumble through some of these before we get to Lennie Acuff. The Steelers offensive tackle Dan Moore Jr. is set to sign a 4-year, $82 million deal with the Titans, $50 million guaranteed. Saw somewhere where he led the league last year in sacks allowed. So I don't. There's not a ton of people raving about this. I'll just say that. But
wow,
I'm sure we'll ask Terry about that eventually. Yes.
Mm.
Also,
A lot of what the hell?
former Titan Harold Landry and Mike Vrabel are reuniting in New England. The former Titans edge rusher signed a 3-year deal with the Patriots worth $43 million. Also played at Boston College, so he returns to where he played in college.
And of course, Vrabel's kid played at BC.
Yeah. Tyler Vrabel, I think. Also, some other news over the weekend. The Steelers traded for DK Metcalf. So Metcalf headed to Pittsburgh. The Raiders signed Geno Smith. The Chargers re-signed Khalil Mack. The Rams signed Devontae Adams in a little bit of a shocker. And the Buccaneers re-signed Chris Godwin today. I know there were some Titans people hoping and praying that Chris Godwin could be an option for them, but he was not. And apparently Aaron Rodgers has emerged as an option for the Steelers.
We should.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. And Josh Allen and the Bills.
He broke the bank.
Yes, he reached a record-setting 6-year, $330 million contract, the largest guaranteed total ever given to an NFL player.
So he is as happy as Lennie Acuff.
Yes.
$330 million, Billy, guaranteed?
Well, it's actually $250 million guaranteed, but $330 million is the total there.
But $250 guaranteed.
Yeah.
I'm in on that. Good gracious.
Also, Sam Darnold is headed to the Seahawks on a $100 million deal. Probably should have led with that one. That one's actually just broke. So Sam Darnold to Seattle.
So that feels like the illegal tampering period may have started a little early. They trade Geno. Everybody's like, what's that all about? And boom, Sam Darnold.
Come on in, homie.
Damn, I am.
They don't illegally tamper, do they?
Every day.
Yes.
Yeah. Why is there? I mean, is that just technicality? You have to have a legal tampering period.
We may need to go through that later.
Okay.
It's just somebody gets disgruntled because they lose somebody that they wanted to keep. People talk every day in that league, and there's always shady stuff happening.
Disgruntled employees.
Yeah.
Also, the Bears are signing former Vanderbilt star Dayo Odengbo to a $48 million contract. Big deal for him.
Ooh.
And I saw where Adam Butler, another former Vanderbilt player, signed with the Raiders on a decent deal there. So that's what I got.
Okay. After the break, you'll meet what I believe should be the happiest man in Nashville sports. That's Lipscomb basketball coach Lennie Acuff. He's in the on-deck circle, and he should be thrilled. His Bisons are headed to March Madness on 94.9 The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Attention college basketball fans. Kentucky and Gonzaga will square off Friday night, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena, and you won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale to the public at this very moment at bridgestonearena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. It's two of the best programs in all of college basketball, and they're playing right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Act now. Tickets will be gone shortly, so you better act accordingly. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Manufacturing and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Hey, Preds fans, the Predators hit the road this week, beginning their 3-game California road trip tomorrow night at 9:30 against the Sharks. Radio pregame coverage begins at 8:30.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Well, it should be Wayne. That's perfect timing for the bump music. Happiest guy in Nashville sports should be the man we're about to talk to. All of us who know him are thrilled for him. He is Coach Lennie Acuff, and his team is headed to the NCAA tournament. Lennie, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, George. I really appreciate you being there yesterday, and thank you for having me on.
Oh, I've had a blast watching your team over the last 3 weeks. I don't know that I can put my finger on it exactly, but they're really a fun group.
Yeah, they are, George. I know I shared with you several times that they're really awesome young men. And what they do, they love playing basketball. There's a purity to that. There's a high buy-in, and they're really selfless. The one thing I know for sure, at some point it's going to end, but it sure is not going to be because we got outplayed. I mean, they play really hard. They really want to represent the school the right way. And I'm real privileged to be their coach.
Lennie, I want to ask you about one strategic move you made yesterday, and you're going to laugh when you hear this. I turned to Billy Derrick. North Alabama was getting a lot of great looks inside, a lot of offensive rebounds, and I said to him, I said, I might think about 2-3 zone right now just to screw them up a little bit. And apparently you thought it too, because like 3 possessions later, you did it, and I thought it messed them up a little bit.
Well, I would tell you, great minds think alike. You're probably way ahead of me, George. We did it because we were absolutely grasping for straws. We couldn't stop them. They are really physical. They got the big kid they have inside Williams is for transfer from LSU. And, he's 6'9" and really athletic and physical. And they're the best rebounding team in the league. They, for people that follow SEC basketball, they're a little bit like Texas A&M. They just get it up on the rim and they go get it. And so we said, hey, let's just try something to at least, and your point's well taken, just get them a little disjointed. And I wish I could take credit for it. My assistant coaches, Tyler Murray, Vince Martin, Roger Eastrom, and Peyton Manning. I was like, hey, what do you think? I'm like, hey, boys, I'm open for anything. We just need to figure out a way to score one more than them. And if it means doing whatever, we need to do it. But I did think it got them standing a little bit, and it kept our size around the goal. And so it ended up working out. You don't ever know. I mean, somebody said after the game, all of this, good coaching or whatever. I'm serious. Like the last 5 minutes, I just sit back and watch Will Pruitt and Joe Anderson and Jossie Powell make plays. I mean, they made play after play after play. And, you look a lot smarter when guys are making 25-foot 3-point shots.
I filmed the last 30, 45 seconds of the game, and we're showing in the podcast version a little bit of what Allen Arena looked like. I saw you take a look up there very late when it looked like you knew, okay, we've won. What were you thinking when you looked up there?
Well, it's a lot of things. This is my 35th year as a head coach, and I've been blessed beyond measure with some great teams and had a chance to coach in 11 Division II NCAA tournaments. And a lot of my players from those teams were there yesterday from Huntsville. And I promise you, every one of those meant so much to me. But, I would be disingenuous and much less than honest if I didn't say you always dream of playing in the NCAA Division I tournament and having a chance to coach in it. And I was pulling so hard for these kids. The other thing that is really a tremendous benefit to this is you get to tell about Lipscomb. I work for an athletic director, Philip Hutchison, that everybody in Nashville knows if they're a native Nashvilleian, and he's as good a man as I know. And when you're coaching Division II basketball, George, a lot of times people think you can't coach at a higher level, and you have to have somebody with thick enough skin and somebody that's comfortable in their own skin to give you an opportunity. And Philip did that for me, and so just very thankful for him. And what a great day for Lipscomb. I know there's a lot of college basketball games on yesterday, but below the Power Four, there's no way there was a better atmosphere than was in that building yesterday. It was really a special day for our school.
You got that part right. So I watched you cut your little piece of the net down, and I'm guessing that's a moment you will never forget.
No, and I'm, no, I will not. And it's something the longer you do it, here's the thing, George, in coaching, you're either humble or you're about to be. And, one of my dearest friends, and that's the truth. I mean, you're just only as good as your players. And one of my dearest friends in coaching is Donnie Jones. He's the head coach at Stetson. Fantastic coach, better man. Well, a year ago, last year, he cut down the nets. We had 5 kids. All 5 kids that played in that game went in the transfer portal, and they won like 7 games this year. So it is fleeting. When you get the opportunity to experience that, you better sure enjoy it. And I don't think you apologize for enjoying it. And just to be able to share it with such a special group of people, like I said, all the guys that have played at Lipscomb, how thankful I am for them. And we're with Coach Meyer, the synonymous name he has with Lipscomb basketball, what he built so strong in so many years there that, that was just the identity of the school for so long. As everybody, when you thought about Lipscomb, about basketball camp, and what a great job Casey did. And so it was very humbling, something I'm very thankful for. No, I will never forget that for sure.
So I've always thought that one of the advantages on the mid-major level is you get 3 or 4 days to sort of stay in the clouds and soak it in and get the full stuff of it, as opposed to a lot of the bigger schools who find out on Sunday and 10 minutes later everybody's in a room trying to figure out where are we getting tape on this guy? What do we know about this guy? So how will you handle this week as far as team practicing and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, obviously it's the first time I've gone through it, so I've leaned on some guys that have been through it. But I know this. We have a really, really tired basketball team. We lost at Eastern Kentucky, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And we knew we probably had to win out to get first place. And the difference in who's going to the NCAA tournament is who was the number 1 seed. You saw the crowd Florence, North Alabama brought with them yesterday. Can you imagine if we had to go in that building yesterday?
Oh, man.
I mean, that would have been a tough out. And so we ended up winning, I think, 11 of our last 12. And you felt like every game was almost a must win. And, I mean, we knew we were going to be in the tournament, and we're fortunate we'd had a good year. But you really wanted to play at home. And I think yesterday you saw the value of that. And, you know, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to rest. We're going to enjoy it. I told the guys yesterday, we're not doing anything Monday or Tuesday, but we're going to go back and start practicing on Wednesday. We'll probably practice Wednesday, Thursday, take off Friday, and come back Saturday, practice. And then Sunday we'll figure out where we're going because we really could be going a lot of places. I was really hoping we may be able to get into Lexington just for our fans. But I don't think that'll happen. You know, the way they do the seating or the way they do the locations, they're going to send the highest seed to their closest location. And so it looks like in Knoxville, in Lexington, it'll be Alabama and Auburn will probably be, those two will go there, or maybe even Tennessee. And so they're on the one line. I think we'll probably be 13. We could anywhere be 12 to 14. We're going to have some good fortune the next few days to probably get to 12. It looks like we're probably going to be a 13, which is great for us. And we could be a 14, I guess. But so you're not going to go to, you know, where the 1, 16, 8, and 9 are, if that makes sense. So it looks like we're going to have to travel a pretty good distance, and we'll start working on all those logistics tomorrow. But I think it's really, really important that you don't apologize for enjoying this. I'm happy for our school. I'm happy for our parents. Yep. And so we're just happy, and we're going to enjoy it. But you know, we got a lot we got to get better at, and there's a lot of things we need to clean up, and we'll work on that. You know, it's a fine line, though. You don't want to get back hurt. I think you have to be careful with that too, because you know we're not. Our bench is pretty short right now, and that's no reflection on the kids that aren't getting as many opportunities. It's just we've decided to shorten our rotation, and it's worked. So we need all our guys to be guys next Thursday or Friday, whatever day we play.
Lennie, after Kelly finishes his questions, I got a third straggler in here. I can't tell you who it is yet, but you certainly know this person who wants to congratulate you. But Kelly, go ahead.
Coach, congratulations. I told George after the game, we were down on the court, and that was a pretty impressive scene. That was an impressive place the other day. It was awesome. But you know, that's how a championship game is supposed to be. It's kind of your arch nemesis. You know, I don't know if you have a very good relationship with their coach, but I got tired of seeing him talk to the referee all day. That was really irritating me. But you know, the way they beat y'all last year, you know, we were sitting up there in the Queens game, and Jalen, I think y'all were down by 10 with 7 to go. She was like, "We're going to get beat, Dad." And I just heard the UNA score, and I said, "No, they're not, because this is karma. They've got to play UNA, and that's going to happen." And so, you know, it did happen yesterday, and you guys came out on top. So kudos to you.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate that.
So let me ask you.
Here's something, and I do want to answer your question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You know, I didn't realize this. You know, when I was in Huntsville, that was our biggest rival. I actually got my master's from North Alabama. And we played them. I mean, I played them every year for 22 years. And their SID, who's really a nice gentleman, he told me before the game, he said, "You realize that you are the 10th most you have coached more games in every school but 10 teams they've ever played. And they've been playing basketball for like 90 years. And so I've been in a lot of games in Florence, Alabama, and played against North Alabama. So I'm sure they don't think very much of me, but that's all right."
Well, hey, tell me this. So you've coached a lot of great teams. You talk about UAH, came up here, Philip Hutchinson brought you up here. Well, Where does this team stand on all your? You've got. I know there's as a coach, you have certain teams that you put on a pedestal. Where does this team stand in all that?
Yeah, I will say this, and and I think I said to you guys last year. In my 35 years, this is as fine a group of young men as I've ever coached, and I really don't care what anybody thinks. That is not coach speak. I mean, like we're playing 7 guys, and those 6 or 7 kids aren't getting to play. They're cheering as hard as anybody. Oh, they're not a problem. That's not the case everywhere. We've got incredible leadership on our team. And now I've had some as good. It was interesting, yesterday I probably had 20 of my former players that were at the game from Huntsville that came up. They're on the floor crying afterwards. And, because all those guys are a part of your journey. And to be able to share that with those guys, and there were 5 or 6 guys who were on my first team at Lipscomb, which might have been our most overachieving team ever. That was my first year, and we've lost a lot. We ended up getting to the championship game that year. But this group of kids, they're special. And I'm really thankful that a lot of people have gotten to see that over the last 3 weeks, because we know in this area, I mean, football is king. And a lot of times most people don't even turn their eyes to basketball. I mean, really start digging deep into it till after the Super Bowl, particularly after college football season's over. And so I'm glad these guys are getting the recognition that they deserve, but they're really special kids and selfless. And I tell you, I'd coach for the next 30 years if I could coach this team, because they're about the right stuff.
So Coach, I said it. I brought it up last week, but when you lost Dylan Faulkner, I thought y'all had to make some adjustments. But just how big has Charlie Williams stepped up? I mean, like he's kind of matured. And the other night against Queens, man, I was amazed. Like y'all shot free throws. That's the reason you won the game. I think you were 27 and 29, but Charlie Williams came in and he made some huge free throws, which I never thought, you don't expect because you don't really know, but like he has stepped up for y'all big.
He has, and I tell you the thing he's done, he fights his tail off in the post. I mean, he's 6'10", and he's not a real big physical kid, but the transfer they had from LSU, the big kid yesterday, I mean, he's a grown man now. And I mean, he was tough for Charlie Gar, but Charlie got 7 rebounds in 20 minutes. He sprung his ankle. He went right back in there after him, and he just gives us some size around the goal. And the other thing he does, he gives us some pick and pop. He can make threes. I mean, he saved our bacon the other night against Queens. I mean, he made 2 of the biggest 3 at 16 points on 4 shots. He was 8 for 8 from the foul line and 4 for 4 from the floor. And, I think a lot of times, and I think you have to be careful with this with kids, is that sometimes, I mean, you're getting ready to have a son-in-law that's one of the nicest kids I've ever been around in my life, but you don't need to misinterpret kindness for weakness. No. And those aren't one and the same. And like Will Pruitt, I'm going into Fox over that dude. I mean, you saw him yesterday. I mean, I mean, that dude, he wasn't going to lose. He wasn't going to lose. And Charlie's the same way. I mean, he's the nicest kid on earth. But, man, I'm telling you, he got drilled a couple of times yesterday, and he just went right back into the fight. And so, I mean, we're not playing next week in the NCAA tournament. It's not for Charlie. That's for sure.
Okay, let's bring in the third person, the straggler. Straggler, if you will, identify yourself to Lennie.
Lennie is the straggler, Taylor Barnette. I just want to say, man, congratulations. I couldn't be more happy for you. It is awesome to see.
You're the best. Hey, TV, I had no idea you were sitting right behind the bench till about halfway through the game yesterday. Hey, George, if you knew, and Kelly, if you knew how this guy has poured into our kids and what he and his wife do for them on Sunday nights when he has them over to their house. And I mean, guy, you talk about a godsend. I mean, he is impacting these kids. And I did not know Taylor before I came up here, and he has been one of the biggest blessings in our move to Nashville. And just a ton of respect for him. And, man, you guys have got the college basketball insider with you there now, no doubt.
Coach, I appreciate all the kind words. I would love to ask you a question, because I think that one thing that is kind of lost in the last couple of years or the last few years of college basketball or college athletics is culture. And being around you and seeing how you're building this thing at Lipscomb, it's in your 6th year. What was one of your biggest things when you got the job at Lipscomb that you said, okay, this is what I want our culture to look like? And here we are in 2025, you're going dancing, that you're seeing come into fruition.
Well, I think when you have big dreams, I think sometimes the longest distance becomes a shortcut. There is no shortcut to any of this stuff. And we were very, very committed not to taking shortcuts on it. And I feel very strongly about this. A lot of people talk, and you have people on your radio show that say this, is that, the athletics is a front porch of a university, and they're right. But how many porches do you see 500 yards from the house? You don't. And so if we're really going to be that, we need to be an extension of the school. We need to bring in kids that will represent our school the right way. And our kids are not perfect. I'm telling you, not perfect as me. I'm at the front of the line. But I do think there's an expectation, if you're going to play basketball at Lipscomb, that you should have some things that you are about. And I'm not saying you're perfect. And that's the last thing. Our guys have all kinds of stuff, but they really have a good heart. And there's two types of things you deal with kids. There's maturity issues and their heart issues. The maturity thing, you can work through that. But if they really don't want to be there and they're going to fight you on everything, it's tough. And so we really try hard not to do that. Are we perfect? Do we get it right all the time? No. But we really tried to stay true to that. And I think, I've learned a lot since I've been here. I've been humbled a lot, and which is healthy. But the one thing I think I've been validated in my belief is that good kids can win. And you don't have to shortcut that. I mean, you can win with good kids. Now we've got good players. We got good kids and good players, and that's a heck of a combination. That's hard to do, but we just didn't want to take a shortcut.
That's awesome. Well, congrats again. I don't have any more questions other than, Kelly, you are lucky that your future son-in-law got to be around this guy for his whole career, man. What a gift, honestly.
I'm excited. Coach Acuff talked the other day, and I'm excited about that. I enjoy watching him play. I enjoy watching your guys play, watching them play offense, move the ball. They all know that they're going to, in your offense, they all know at some point they're going to get their points, and it's pretty cool to see. But I told my son one day when we were watching Will, I was like, he certainly fits our group because that guy's a bulldog, man. If that ball's on the ground, he's going to go get it, and that's what you have to be if you're going to be a ball player. You got to be aggressive.
Yeah, I'm pulling for Jalen and the girls tomorrow night. And hey, and George, let me tell you this real quick before I hop off. Thank you so much for bringing Kevin Stallings the other night. He texted me this morning, and I just told him one of the best things about this past week was seeing him. He was smiling. He looked happy.
Yes, he did.
He looked good. And Kevin's meant a lot to me and Lisa and their family. And actually, Jacob, his son, texted me. And, that was really nice of you to do that. And him being there meant more to me than you'll ever know.
I was thrilled because I had the same feeling. He looked so happy to see your success, so happy that he's not in NIL. He made that very clear.
I don't know about the first part, but I guarantee he's happy. Now that would not be in his best interest, nor anybody else.
No. So okay.
And coach, I'm going to apologize one more time for George stalking you. I mean, he loves him some Lennie Acuff, but he stalks you quite a bit.
Hey, I cut the net. I thought he was wanting to talk to me about our catcher breaking his rib in spring training. I'm like, George, we'll talk about that next week, man. Let's cut down these nets, man. We'll get the Braves going. Hey, George, I know you got to go. Hey,
no, don't worry about it. You take your time.
Hey, Brian Engel is our associate athletic director and a great guy. He was a college baseball coach, and he saw me the day before the tournament. And he said, okay, because I always told him my dream job is to be the bench coach for the Braves. That's what I want to do. I want to be Walt Weiss. I want to be the guy that gives suggestions but doesn't have to make any decisions. And I'd sit there in the stadium every night. And he said, right now, if the Atlanta Braves were to ask you, so you can have the bench coaching job tomorrow, but you can't coach in the tournament. I said, well, I tell my assistants to do a good job because I'm walking to it because that would be my dream job. And I said, this is 2 weeks. That's a lifetime. But I did tell him yesterday, I said, you think they'll let me have a 2-week notice before I go? But yeah, that'll be here before you know it. And hey, I wish you guys the best. Great week of basketball in Nashville on the SEC tournament, and everybody's coming in. I've heard from several of those guys today, and so should be fun.
Lenny, I'll leave you with this. These two clowns that have asked you the other questions, they wouldn't know Austin Riley if he walked up to them.
Well, that's true. Right, me and you do. That's all right. That's all right. I know you don't, Taylor. I mean, that's all right. Well, hey, if you grew up in my era, if I had to go through the Dale Murphy, Bob Horner, Rafael Ramirez, Glenn Hubbard days, you appreciate these days. But hey, thank you for having me on, guys, and wish you the best. In all seriousness, when you got TB in there, you got a good man, and a good man is about what really matters in life. So I hope you guys have a great day.
So are you. Congratulations. Thank you for doing this.
Congrats, Coach.
My pleasure. All right, y'all take care. Bye. See you guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
bro.
So as we go to the break, I'll say it again. You know, you hear all this stuff about media people are never supposed to root. Well, in the last week, I have broken that little thing a bunch because I wanted to see this man get what he deserves. Not only the team, but he's the one I know. I don't pretend to know any of the team, but he's the one I've been rooting for, and I am pumped for him. We'll go to the break. Taylor, stick around. If we're stuck with you, we're stuck with you.
That's right.
This is 94.9. I'm just kidding. This is 94.9, The Fan.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Attention college basketball fans. Kentucky and Gonzaga will square off Friday night, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena, and you won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale to the public at this very moment at BridgestoneArena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. It's two of the best programs in all of college basketball, and they're playing right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Act now. Tickets will be gone shortly, so you better act accordingly. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket.
The Predators win!
Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today. PancoastBenefits.com or call them at 615-292-3400. So over the next couple of nights, you may not know a thing about Towson State or Cleveland State, other than Tark said that the NCAA was so mad at Kentucky that they tacked an extra year on Cleveland State. You may not know a thing about Charleston. You may not know anything about Wofford. But when these mid-majors have only one bid and it's going to the winner, these games are incredible. Taylor Barnette knows that as good, if not better, than anybody, because not only has he played in these kind of games, but he was forced to hit a shot at the buzzer that got Belmont in the NCAA tournament instead of Murray State down at the Municipal Auditorium. Taylor, I'm guessing there's not a day goes by that somebody doesn't say something to you about that.
I don't know about that. But you're right. It is, I was actually at the Lipscomb game yesterday. You can just taste the desperation in every arena of those games. It's unfortunate in a lot of ways that, the best team who wins the regular season conference, which is a really hard thing to do, doesn't get in. It's very common. And so I love those games. It's a blast to play in. It's a blast to watch and be in the environment. Just the sense of desperation, the effort, just the connectedness. It really it's just honestly one of the best moments in sports. Those games to me are the funnest games every year in college basketball.
Which is interesting because I was a nervous wreck yesterday watching it and the ebbs and flows of it. And with about 15 minutes left, when I turned to Billy and said, I think Lipscomb ought to try 2-3 zone. They got nothing to lose. Nothing else is working. Do players feel that tension?
Yeah, I think that adjustment to go zone in the second half was just one of the best adjustments I've seen all year. I mean, it really took North Alabama out of everything that they were doing. And I think to some degree players feel that, and it's not like they hadn't worked on that or talked about it. So, it's something that they probably walked through that day or went over and practiced the day before. And so it's something that players probably knew that, they could go to at some point. And, experienced guys like Joe or Will or J.O., might be like, hey, coach, we should try it, but Coach Acuff made a great adjustment. And I think it was the difference in the game.
I know I'm just kind of fumbling around here, but Rick Byrd kind of went through this same thing Lennie did, where, he got to his first NCAA tournament. Then he beats Temple, and it was unbelievable. You saw some of that. What do you think it meant to him?
Oh, I mean, it meant everything. I mean, that's the, that's not why you do it, but every year, I mean, in terms of just the basketball aspect, obviously there's, Coach Byrd had an unbelievable impact on my life as a human being, and Coach Acuff is doing the same. Coach Alexander is doing the same at Belmont now. But in terms of basketball, I mean, that's what makes all the conditioning showing up early, for players, the weights, the practice, the monotony. I mean, that's what makes it all worth it is, when you get to those games, I mean, that's what you're doing it for, is so you can go to the NCAA tournament. That's, as a kid, that's what I wanted to do, was play in the NCAA tournament. And so as a coach, I mean, at the end of the day, you have a bunch of objectives that you're trying to achieve during the season, so that the ultimate goal of making the tournament, comes into fruition. So, I mean, that was kind of Coach Byrd's last accomplishment that he wanted at Belmont, was make an NCAA tournament, and he did, and he won a game.
Yeah, it was kind of the final stamp, to me, of a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's well deserving of the Hall of Fame, but to win that tournament game was just so cool to watch.
Okay,
and then almost beat Maryland.
Yeah, got beat by like 4 when he had the Terps on the ropes for quite a bit of that game. Let's do this. We'll go to the break, then we'll go stat of the day. Kelly, I think we dump it in Taylor's lap. He's going to early.
In total agreement with that.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. And then We'll get into some thoughts on the SEC tournament, which starts on Wednesday afternoon. I don't know that I have ever been around since the tournament was reinstated in '79 in Birmingham. I don't think there's ever been one that's been this anticipated. We'll talk about it after the break. This is 94.9, The Fan.
It's been a big year in college hoops, and we have you covered live from the SEC tournament, presented by Toyota. Fuel your adrenaline at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. We'll have reports from Bridgestone Arena as all 16 teams are in action. Brought to you by the new Cumberland.com, Guinness, Volunteer Hose and Gasket, and Sloan's Motorcycle ATV. Your sports live here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
The Electronic Express tax refund sale is going on now. Get up to 40% off in every department, including 4K TVs, computers and accessories, Bluetooth headphones, furniture, and more. Plus, we have all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. And buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com with express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Evan Canty and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
They had the worst defense in the league, with Micah Parsons on the field more often than not. The guy played in 13 games, so your defense was terrible with him. If your defense ain't winning with him, we cannot win without him too. I don't see a path where you pay Micah Parsons top of the market money, where the Cowboys can fortify their roster, both sides of the ball, and be competitive.
Evan Canty and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
I'm from St. Louis, period, end of story. I've lived in New York. I've lived other places.
Okay, but if we're going to play this game, and I don't want to do this, technically, you're from the part of St. Louis that is an Illinois zip code, is it not?
It's the Metro East.
Did you grow up in?
I grew up in Illinois.
And that part of Illinois is considered St. Louis?
East St. Louis, Illinois.
You're hood fishing.
No, I'm not. You just don't understand a map.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday mornings starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. This is Joe and Q.
I would be staying as far away from Darnold as humanly possible. He was in one of the greatest situations you could possibly ask for as a quarterback. At the end of the year, you had back-to-back games that carried extraordinary importance. Played terribly, your team got crushed. I don't need a quarterback who can lose big games. Those guys are everywhere. They don't cost a whole lot of money.
Joe and Q, weekdays from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Amber and Ian.
It's so bizarre when you look at Sam Darnold's stats, and it's just wild because his stats this past season are so far and away better than anything he had ever done in his preceding career. If you have that kind of confidence in your coaching staff, if you're Minnesota, then why go out and pay Sam Darnold?
Amber and Ian, weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on SiriusXM Channel 80.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We're keeping the college basketball talk rolling coming up. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to applecollisioncenters.com.
By the way, Billy, old Stan Harrison pretty fired up for his Crimson Tide.
Big win.
Going to Auburn and winning.
Huge win.
I didn't see that coming.
In Neville Arena.
Yeah.
With some tension, I'm sure we'll get to with Taylor coming up. But let's see what we got for stat of the day. We're going mid-major. Drake's Bennett Sturts is just the second player in Missouri Valley history to achieve 600 points, 180 assists, and 70 steals in a season. Who is the other player? He's a big-time name.
Man.
Well,
Time name, NBA big time name.
the first thought I had, and this is not who it is Hersey Hawkins from Bradley. But I don't think that's where we're going. I also don't think it's Tucker DeVries.
Well, to answer Kelly, big time NBA name. Yes.
So, okay. Taylor, rumble through Drake.
Sorry, George, go ahead.
Drake Bradley, Northern Iowa, Missouri State,
Valpo,
Illinois State,
UIC.
Good Lord, I haven't got a clue.
I really don't either.
how long has Murray been in the Missouri Valley Conference?
I was thinking that too. John Morant was not in the Missouri Valley.
He wasn't. Okay, there
Yeah,
you go.
this guy is way before Belmont and Murray got added.
Well, didn't Steph Curry go to Bradley?
No,
Davidson.
Where?
Davidson.
Davidson.
Y'all,
That's right.
y'all are going to be kicking yourselves.
Put it up there.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Larry Bird.
The hick.
Indiana State.
Flick.
I did forget Indiana State was in the Missouri Valley also.
Wow.
Also, I wouldn't have known what. I mean, I don't know about anything enough about the history of the conference for it to know that was the conference however many years ago when he was there.
Try 40 years ago, 45 years ago.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen, that was ultimately when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson ended up playing each other in the national title. That took the NCAA basketball tournament to an entirely new level.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget Michigan State with Magic Johnson 2 weeks earlier played at MTSU's Murphy Center. The NCAA Mideast Regional was there, and as a young Cub reporter, I was there.
Massaro, you always ask him about that.
No, he wasn't there. No, he was not.
He wasn't there?
Oh, good
Who
Lord, no.
Somebody who was there?
Well, I'll say this. When I met Magic Johnson, I told him that I covered it, and he got a big kick out of that. And I said, what do you remember about that day? Because Michigan State played Billy Tubbs's Lamar team, and in the nightcap of the doubleheader, Tennessee played Notre Dame. Notre Dame had Kelly Tripucka, Bruce Flowers. They were a pretty darn good team under Digger Phelps. I said, what do you remember of that day? Magic said, the color orange. He said, I thought it was ugly. And I was like, don't say that around here. That won't go well.
No.
Okay. Billy, can you pull up the SEC tournament pairings? There they are. So on Wednesday, Arkansas will play South Carolina. That's the noon game. Winner gets the Ole Miss Rebels. Vandy and Texas square off at 2:30. The winner gets A&M. Mississippi State LSU opens the night session at 6 o'clock. The winner there takes on the 7th seed Missouri. And then Georgia and Oklahoma in what might be an elimination game, with the winner moving on to play Kentucky. Taylor, people better be ready for Arkansas. They have started to find something.
Yeah, I agree. Other than, and they owe South Carolina something. I think I came on the show a couple weeks ago and I was like, man, I think Arkansas is starting to figure it out. And then they got beat by South Carolina by about 40, it felt like, at South Carolina. But then they've bounced back and they need to win that game. And I think they'll play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder against those guys, a little payback. But yeah, I agree. I see Arkansas winning 2 games and playing Auburn on Friday. And I think they'll be playing with a sense of desperation. They play hard. They defend. They're starting to make some shots and figure some things out. So that's not a team that I would want to play right now.
Do you believe Vandy is safe, or do you think they have to beat Texas?
I think Vandy is safe, but I'd say this. It'd be nice if you're on that staff and you're on that team, if you lose Wednesday, it makes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday a lot longer. If you win that game, you feel a lot better going into selection show Sunday. But I think regardless, I think they're safe. I think, they went down and beat Texas A&M at Texas A&M a couple weeks ago. I mean, that sealed the deal.
The nightcap, the night session, I can't figure Mississippi State out.
Yeah, me neither. They're hot and cold. And it kind of how they were a little bit last year too. It feels like, they're really elite on the defensive end, but can have a little bit of trouble scoring. And Josh Hubbard can be a little bit streaky. And, if he gets hot, I think they win games. And if he shoots you out of it a little bit too sometimes. But it really feels like they've had quite a little bit of a roller coaster season. And to see them, as the 10 seed in the SEC tournament, I wasn't expecting that. They're really good. Don't get me wrong. I think they're really, really good, but I think they've got more in the tank.
Georgia really intrigues me in that nightcap at 8:30, give or take a few minutes. This is a good effort by Michael White's team to get in. Not a lot of people saw this before the season started. Do you think they're in win or lose, or do you think this is an elimination game?
I think Oklahoma, they've gotten a couple good wins lately that have helped their own resume. And so, and Georgia, I've been impressed with their team as well this year. It's not every year that Georgia basketball is this good. So I don't know. I feel like right now, as of today, they're probably in, but they're not thinking that way. They want to win that game and play Kentucky and have a chance to beat Kentucky and continue to, maybe possibly move up a couple spots as a seed in that NCAA tournament. But, there's definitely some teams, I think, that are going to be playing with a sense of desperation and want to seal the deal and not leave any room for other teams to steal a bid.
Well, Oklahoma might even be the more desperate team in that game. I would be surprised if the Sooners win that.
Yeah, there's certain teams here that they are desperate to win a game or win two games to make the tournament, and it's what takes away. I think this is going to be an awesome SEC tournament, but it's what makes the difference in a high major tournament versus a mid major tournament where one team's going to come out of the bracket and go to the NCAA tournament like we saw with Lipscomb yesterday. So there's going to be a couple more teams that are desperate and a little bit more motivated to win the tournament or to make a deep run to give themselves a chance.
Kelly, before I turn it over to you, if Terry McCormick's listening, he's going to throw up. Late word out of New York, Yankee right-hander Garrett Cole needs Tommy John surgery.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Oops.
That don't sound good.
No, it doesn't. Billy, I know you reported on it last week. I guess he had gone to see the doctors or whatever. The news is not good, and that's a shame because when he's healthy, he's really good.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Probably out for the year.
Yeah. Oh, he is out for the year, at least. Kelly?
Taylor, so I mean, I know I ask you this every week, man. It seems like when we get to this time of year, I know I asked you last year, and I know people on radio and everywhere is getting tired of hearing me talk about this, but I can't grasp my brain around this. Rick Barnes got up to the podium the other day and was talking about, he says, well, some teams are, fighting like the Dickens just to get in the NCAA tournament. We've got to figure out how to get better. And when he said that, I'm thinking to myself, he knows that this SEC tournament doesn't matter. If you're a coach, how do you, like, to Georgia, to Oklahoma, to South Carolina, to Texas, it means something because if they can go far and they can make a headway, maybe they've got a shot for the NCAA tournament. But you talk about Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Alabama, even the second group. they're going to the NCAA tournament. So how, as a coach, do you just logistically tell your kids or put your kids through this and say, you can't tell them that, hey, we're not trying to win the tournament, but I can't wrap my head around how these coaches are seeing this tournament now.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. It's not the tournament, right? It's the conference tournament, and 13 teams from the SEC are getting in right now for the tournament, and it's not this one. But I think as a competitor, you're still, super excited about the possibility of winning a championship. And, call a spade. There's bonuses and contracts if you win this tournament. There's job security if you win this tournament. Not saying Rick Barnes doesn't have that, but there's other ulterior motives as a coach to win this tournament. But you're at the same time, to a lot of those guys, that doesn't really matter. I think they want to win because they're competitors, and they want to be playing good basketball. I think it is an opportunity for, some teams, like Rick Barnes says, we need to get better. It's an opportunity to get better because you got a few more games or a couple more games until you get to the NCAA tournament. I think the biggest concern that any coach would have is just, gosh, man, I hope nobody gets hurt. Like that to me is the toughest situation. Is like, you're going out there and you're playing an SEC tournament. You're already a top 3-4 seed in the NCAA tournament, or a 2 seed really, and maybe a 1. So you might be playing for seeding or a higher seed, which is a good thing, and it matters. But you're really hoping that, man, your team stays healthy and maybe you can gain some confidence from these games.
See, and that's what I don't understand either. Like, if you're a coach, you just said it. Like, you don't want guys to get hurt, but you can't coach that way. You got to coach your normal way, but that's just tough in the SEC tournament. Like, Auburn's won the regular season championship, but like the SEC, I just don't know. I'm just confused about how they're how they're coaching that, because you're right. You don't want to get anybody hurt because the ultimate goal is the NCAA tournament. So it's just a different time. I understand that it's a different deal, because back in the day, you wanted to win the SEC tournament, and then you go to the mid majors and, a place like Lipscomb or Belmont, you've got to win your conference tournament. So they have something to play for. You got to win your conference tournament to get in, which I don't really like either. I don't think that's fair, but that's just the way it's going. So I'm that's beyond me. So let me move on. So you're a Kentucky guy, and
Kelly, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Because what you're getting at is this, okay? Most of the teams either have to win 5 games in 5 days or 4 games in 4 days.
Yeah.
And if the reward is being moved up 1 seed, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the teams tank it. Although I have watched one in particular at the SEC tournament, there was no doubt in my mind did it years ago. It was an LSU team that tanked it around 1990. But Taylor, that is a factor if the reward is only really going to move you up 1 seed line.
Yeah, it's really, I would say this, though. It's really important to continue to get better and be playing your best basketball. So I do think there's an opportunity. It's hard to take some time off and then come back and play a game. So, the SEC tournament, the championship will be on Sunday, selection show that night, another game that week. So it does give you an opportunity not to interrupt the flow too much and have this long extended break. Which is a beauty of the mid-majors too. They do get some rest, like Coach Acuff talked about his team being tired. So I hear you guys. It is a tough situation just to maybe move up 1 seed. But hey, it's a business of small margins. That 1 seed might switch you from a really bad matchup and cause you to make an Elite 8 or a Final 4. You just never know.
Yeah, well, I apologize bringing it up. I just can't wrap my head around that, man. I don't know why, but it's a tough deal that the coaches got to go through. So, my next deal is you're a Kentucky guy, and I think Mark Byington's done a really good job at Vanderbilt. What is your assessment of Mark Pope? What he's done in Kentucky? Because he kind of had the same type situation. They didn't have much of a team. And then I think I saw a stat the other day is they've beat the most top 15 teams ever this year with Mark Pope. So what's your assessment of how he's done this year?
I think he's done a great job. I think more than anything, when it's Lexington, Kentucky, the whole state of Kentucky loves Kentucky basketball. The biggest win I think that Mark Pope had this year was winning back the fan base. And Coach Calipari did an awesome job in his time there, but it ran out. And, I think people don't appreciate maybe enough that just the job that he did, just the way that the last few years were. But I think Coach Pope has brought in a brand of basketball that the people of Kentucky, the fans, that they wanted to see. He's playing currently 2 kids that are from the state of Kentucky. That matters so much in the state of Kentucky. So I think his greatest win this year was winning back the fan base by the style of play, getting some Kentucky kids. Those Kentucky kids are playing. They're winning big games. They've played an incredibly tough schedule. And I think for them, the Achilles heel for them all year, and it'll be the same in the SEC tournament and NCAA tournament, is 1, I don't know how healthy they're going to be, but 2, can they get enough stops on the defensive end? They can score, but can they stop the other team?
So Kentucky's always been the upper echelon of the SEC. They've been the mainstay when it comes to college basketball. And this year, Jay Billis has said it. Other guys have said it, talking about just how good the SEC is, and it's the best conference that he's ever seen right now from top to bottom. Can Kentucky get back up there, or can the SEC keep this up where it can be like a juggernaut every year from here on out?
Yeah, I mean, I think, they finished, 6th, I think, in the SEC in the regular season. I think, they had a couple tough injuries. Jackson Robinson got hurt. Lamont Butler's been in and out, and those are 2 starters. I mean, Lamont Butler's, it makes him go on the offensive and defensive end. He's really good experience, been to a Final Four. So when you have some injuries, it throws some kinks in there. But I think that he'll be successful there. I think that they have all the resources in the world for him to be successful there, and I think he's a really good coach. So I don't think that he'll have any problem finishing in the top 5 of the SEC in the years to come.
I got you. So my last deal is I heard you say this earlier, and this is kind of sad to me thinking about it. But we've got the NIL, we've got the transfer portal, and you talked about Coach Bird meaning so much to you, and all my coaches like Coach Thompson, Coach Donnelly, Coach Rob, all those guys that there's a little bit of them in you. Mm-hmm. And with this new era of ball, like I don't understand, like the coaches are not going to have an impact on young men, because when I came to this program up here, I can remember Coach Donnelly talking about how, we're here to make you a man. You're going to be a young man when you leave here. You're going to be a man. And now with the transfer portal and with the NIL stuff and all that, I just think it's a sad day. And I know we're not going back. I get it, and we'll figure it out some way. I understand that, but just to have the impact of a Rick Bird had on you or a Boots Donnelly had on me, that seems like it's probably in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's in the past. I think that, even if you're with somebody for 1 year, you can have a lot of impact. I think it's a choice. I really do. What's the motivation? Is it just to win games, or is it to help people grow and to develop young men, young women in college athletics? I think it's a mindset. It's a mentality. It's a heart posture of both the coaches and the players. You got to, as you know, Kelly, you wanted that as a player. You wanted that as a young man when you were playing. You wanted to grow, and I think it's the difference between being transactional and transformational. Do you want to remain just like this transaction? Here's how much we're going to give you so that you produce the best numbers for me and we win games. Or is it like, all right, we're going to blend all this together and I want to see you transformed and mature as in your time here, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So I still think there's plenty of opportunity and room for that. But maybe with this new era of college athletics, it might be a little more difficult to achieve.
Billy, you've been awfully quiet.
Taylor, Bruce Pearl just won SEC Coach of the Year. I don't think that's a big shock to anybody. And we got double Georges here. Look at
We don't need that. Take that off, please.
We certainly don't want that.
Double your pleasure, double your fun.
Taylor, but Mark Byington at Vanderbilt, we've talked about the job he's done. How much consideration did he deserve? But also a guy like Dennis Gates. Those two teams last year won a combined 4 games in the SEC. Vanderbilt won 4. Missouri didn't win any. And they turn around their teams like that. Did Bruce Pearl, he did a heck of a job, right? I'm not discrediting what he did, but how much credit do you think Byington and Gates also deserved?
Yeah, I mean, in year 1 at Vanderbilt, Coach Byington is getting those guys, I think, to the NCAA tournament. I mean, that's incredible. I think what a job he's done in an unprecedented year of the SEC being this difficult. I just think that's amazing. And Dennis Gates, I don't know him personally, but I've loved watching him on the sidelines. I think he has such a good presence. His guys, you can tell they love him and they want to play for him. And so I'm happy for him. I think both of those guys had great years. But, I mean, Bruce Pearl, they not only started, but they sustained the whole way. In the schedule that they played, I think that they have a loss at Duke, they lost to Alabama, and then who else did they lose to? Who's their third loss?
Florida.
I mean, that's the only 3 losses they have all year. I mean, it's just impressive. So I think for him, it's like they started out that good and they have sustained it throughout the year as well. They sustained in the midst of having Janai Broom out for a couple weeks, which is impressive.
Well, of course, after 2 losses here to end the season, people want to start talking about, I don't know about Auburn in the tournament. Maybe,
Right.
Baker Mazzara, if he gets ejected again, what happens? I do think that is something that if that happens again, say that happens in a Sweet 16 game against a really good 4 or 5 seed, like that's still going to be hard for Auburn. Like it's not, even in the SEC tournament, of course, too, if they got to play Arkansas or Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Does that concern you? I mean, if I'm Bruce Pearl, you can't have that again, especially in another big game. I'm not sure what goes through Baker Mazzara's head, but those are things you can't have if you're Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, I think it's a learning opportunity, and he's a key player for them. He really is, and I still think they're the most complete team. If you remember, there was a bunch of media stories about how they had to land the plane because they had a scuffle on the plane earlier in the year, and I think that was on the way to Houston, and they ended up winning the game at Houston. So it's those things can be resolved quickly. And he is an important piece of their team. It's a good coachable moment. But I don't have an issue of them going to the Final Four because of something like that. I think that they very well could, and I'll probably pick them to do so.
Okay. Good stuff today. Thank you for bonus coverage and coming on with Lennie. I know he enjoyed that. We did too. Taylor, thanks as always.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good week.
You too. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to open up the phone lines after the break, and I am looking for red-blooded Americans who want to talk tournament basketball. If you don't enjoy this, what the hell's wrong with you?
You're not American.
How can you be a red-blooded American and not get into this stuff? It's awesome. Awesome, baby.
Awesome, baby.
Anyway, jump in. Y'all been a little quiet on the phones lately. I want a big day of phone calls. 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. Billy, how else can they get with us?
Chat room is open. right now. We are having more Twitter issues. I don't know what's going on with Twitter, so apologies there. We're streaming on YouTube and Facebook still working on Twitter, but you can hop in on YouTube and Facebook if you want to chime in.
And after the break, we will reveal exactly what's going to go on here in tomorrow morning around 11:30. Sports Speaker Series finally firmed up. It's going to be a good one a day before the tournament starts. This is 94.9 The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Attention college basketball fans. Kentucky and Gonzaga will square off Friday night, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena, and you won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale to the public at this very moment at bridgestonearena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. It's two of the best programs in all of college basketball, and they're playing right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Act now. Tickets will be gone shortly, so you better act accordingly. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Hey, Preds fans, the Predators hit the road this week, beginning their 3-game California road trip tomorrow night at 9:30 against the Sharks. Radio pregame coverage begins at 8:30.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Worry, I won't hurt you. I only want you to have some fun.
Okay. That was some interesting bump music.
I like it.
Yeah, sure you do. Got some phone calls ready. You got anything on the old chat line?
Brian earlier called Lipscomb. He said that was a heck of a game, but he also said dumb move by the A-Sun. What we were talking about, them moving the tournament to a neutral site in Jacksonville. I think we can all agree on that.
I don't get that, but we'll see how it plays out. Okay, tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning, the latest installment of the Wilson Bank and Trust Sports Speaker Series, and here's what we've got the day before the tournament. We got 3 what I would call color analyst types. And I'm sorry Tim Thompson couldn't be here, but he had to bow out earlier today. Ron Bargatze stepping in, Mark Griffin from the University of Tennessee, and former Mississippi State coach Richard Williams. If you go back, he guided the Bulldogs to the Final Four in 1996.
Yep.
I believe. Anyway, looking forward to the 3 of them. If you would like to come, here's all I ask you to do. First of all, it'll be tomorrow morning at the Ford Ice Center, 11:30. We'll probably have you out by about 12:45. Just simply email me if you'd like to come, plastergeorge@gmail.com. Let me know, how many seats you need. It's a free event, and I think it'll be a really good event.
Got good food here. If you want to get some lunch, they got some drinks as well, and we'll have a good crowd out here.
Yeah. Let's start in Nolensville. Tony, what's shaking today?
Oh, George, Kelly, and Billy. George, I've done talk to you about this speaker series, and it's killing me that I'm going to miss this. But, Kelly, I'm having to miss it because I'm going to be down in your neck of the woods tomorrow in Fayetteville, having to get my real ID with the DMV. That's the closest I could get. So after I do that, my wife and I think we're going to go to the old restaurant down there, Marvin's. I'm sure you've been there a day or two, haven't you?
I've been to Marvin's. Either Marvin's or Cahoots is where you go. Cahoots is up on the square. It's in the old jail. I know the people that own that place. So either one of those places, you can't go wrong.
What's that place we did our show from, Kelly? I don't think this is This isn't Fayetteville.
Oh, Miller's Grocery out
We
in
got-
Christiana.
We got to
Christiana.
we got to get back out there. That place was
That's
good.
a good place.
It is good.
Guys, Vandy, I think, is going to end up in that. First of all, we're all thankful they're going to get to the NCAA tournament. I do think they're in. They would definitely solidify it by beating Texas Wednesday, but I think they're in. But they're going to be in that dreaded 8-9 slot. I was hoping they'd do a little better down the stretch here, but I just think they're going to be in that 8-9 slot. And they'll when they win that game, and I like saying when they win that game, they'll catch probably the number 1 seed. So we'll see how all that plays out. But guys, I've got a question. George, you may want to answer this. And then I got a couple more little quick things I want to mention real quick. In the Auburn game with the ejected player, Billy, who was it? I apologize. I can't remember his name.
Chad Baker Mazzara.
Right. In football, guy gets thrown out of game. He has to set out the first half of the next week's game. Isn't that correct?
Yes, and I don't think Baskets has got that.
What? That's ridiculous. I don't know why they don't follow that format in basketball. I don't understand that. I mean, in football, it's a week away, and while you're in basketball, you wouldn't just the very next game, you set out the first half. I think that's something they ought to look at, because when you throw the elbow like he did in the back of a guy's head like he did, purposely, intentionally, I think something like that, I think he needs more severe penalty to set out than just the rest of that game. So that was just my take on that.
Yeah, by the way, looks like a report.
Well, I think there's an opinionated piece from somebody. I think this is a column saying Bruce Pearl must hold him accountable by suspending him, which I doubt he does. But that's
right. Okay. Yeah, Brandon Miller was involved. Partly took a gun to a thing. They didn't do nothing. Oates didn't do nothing to him either. So we know how all these coaches, how that's going to go when it's crunch time now. Kelly, I think Eddie George going to Bowling Green, I think, and all y'all can chime in on this, I think some of the issues that's circulating around TSU, off the field, away from football, just the monetary issues between them and the state government, I think that might have helped make him solidify his decision to leave. I mean, of course, he looked in wanting to be the head coach of the Bears, and then now he's getting this Bowling Green job. I think some of the monetary issues that are going on between the state and TSU might have helped him in that decision. And I'll let y'all touch on that. But then the last thing I wanted to say is George, it might have been you, Kelly, it might have been you asking Coach Acuff, what did this mean? Or you asked the young man, I forgot your guest right there who was talking about Lipscomb, who played at Belmont.
Taylor Barnette.
George and Kelly and Billy, when it comes to my mind, I played at Austin Peay. Austin Peay hadn't won much of nothing in football and played for Boots like Kelly did. But when we won our first championship in Boots' first year, on our championship rings today, it reads pride on one side and respect on the other. And I think that's what this, with Lipscomb getting in the tournament, I think they now have the pride they instilled in themselves, the respect of the conference, and if nothing else, to me, when you win these championships first time and do all these things, it's validation that you belong and that you could do it. You're where you're supposed to be. So that's the way I feel about that. But I know I thrown a lot at you, guys. I'd love to be there tomorrow, but I'll be with the DMV instead. So
you'll be there.
Later, guys. Great show, George.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Tony. There's no doubt that the financial stuff at TSU was a huge factor in Eddie George leaving. I think they're going to have trouble getting, first of all, Brandon Fisher should be a legitimate candidate for that job. Now, whether he is or not, I don't know, but I think that they're going to have a hard time. Coaches find out stuff. They do their homework, and they're going to find out TSU's got big money trouble.
It's kind of amazing, too, that Eddie George, a lot of times when you play ball, you don't think about becoming a head coach because players don't understand that when you're playing, it's different than when you're coaching. And then he stepped into that arena, and he had Coach Fisher help him kind of figure out a staff and do all that stuff. So he's kind of got that. He's kind of on the up and up right now, and hopefully he can do a good job at Bowling Green. And then you never know where he goes from there if he wants to keep with it.
Loeffler got the hell out of there in what appears to be a coach saying, I'm tired of dealing with NIL. I don't know what kind of money Bowling Green has or doesn't have. As a member of the MAC, I wouldn't think it's a lot.
Well, when you always say when they have a game, there's sections available, and if you see it on TV, I mean it's a tough sell now, man. It really is.
I think this is a good hire. You know, he's going back to Ohio. If anybody can help pump money into that program, it's him. And you know, he was at 4 years at TSU, but I mean, that's a good hire. And I think that's the direction that a lot of these schools are probably going to start going, whether it's, you know, the Deion Sanders effect or, you know, Eddie George, whoever it may be. That's becoming more common.
And of course, once you go MAC,
you never go back.
You're darn tootin'. Okay, we'll take more of your phone calls after the break to Clay and Jeff and Eric. Hang in there. This is 94.9 The Fan. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Attention college basketball fans. Kentucky and Gonzaga will square off Friday night, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena, and you won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale to the public at this very moment at BridgestoneArena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. It's 2 of the best programs in all of college basketball, and they're playing right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Act now. Tickets will be gone shortly, so you better act accordingly.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket. The Predators win! Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, PancoastBenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
On 94.9 The Fan.
I like that too.
Yeah, well, that's good. Okay, let's get right to the business at hand.
We do have some NFL news.
Let's hear it.
Former Tennessee quarterback Josh Dobbs has reached an agreement on a 2-year deal with the Patriots. So he's joining Mike Vrabel, likely to be the backup, you would think. And the Eagles are trading Kenny Pickett to the Browns for a 2025 fifth-round pick and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So Kenny Pickett to Cleveland.
Wow, interesting.
There's a chance he
ends
up starting.
There is a chance. Clay in Nashville, get us going.
George, how you doing today?
I'm good. Hope you are.
I'm doing good. I'm going to try to be quick so that everybody can get on. Anyway, I will be there tomorrow, George. I will actually email you and give you some details on my stuff, but I'm looking forward to that, and I appreciate you asking me to come, things like that. Guys, hello, Billy. Hello, Kelly, by the way. You know, you guys know that I'm passionate about the Vanderbilt men's basketball program. And, you know, the crazy thing to me is, and George, you remember this, you go back a long way like me. Kevin Stallings, when he was Vanderbilt's coach, by the way, he's the all-time wins leader, 2 Sweet 16s, a SEC tournament championship when Kentucky was number 1. You know, he tried everything before the game, after the game, for the senior award ceremony. And in 17 years, they may have won 3 or 4 times. Of course, the Shane Foster one with 42 points will always be a great memory for me. What a game against Mississippi State. A kid that puts up 42 points and is the all-time leading scorer, you know, in that program's history. The concerning thing to me is the health of this basketball team going into the postseason. I think we really need Huffman, you know, is an in your grill, up in your whatever, up under you. He'll get after you, steal the ball, whatever it takes. On defense, we don't need points from him. MJ Collins is a kid that can score. He's had lobs for dunks. He's made threes. He's you know, he's kind of a do-it-all kind of guy. So I hope they're doing better. I hope their ankles are feeling better and they're able to play against Texas. I agree with Tony that this is important, you know, to kind of turn the tide a little bit since we lost to Arkansas and lost to Georgia, even though we were 1 player down and 2 players down for Georgia. So it's important to turn the tide, build up some momentum, put all doubt, you know, out of. Personally, I would like to be a 10. You know, it takes you out of the 8, 9 and a potential matchup with a 1 seed. But if this basketball team, you know, can fight, scratch, claw, whatever it takes to beat Texas and win a game in the SEC tournament, win a game in the NCAA tournament, you finish with a final record of 22-13, 5 ranked wins. A team thrown together out of the portal, a coach in his first year. So to me, you know, it's gravy, but you want to at least, you know, be recognized in the postseason, win a game in the postseason, in the SEC tournament, in the NCAA tournament. But whatever happens, you know, I'm proud of Coach Byington and proud of these kids. So I will try to certainly be there, get a ticket, get in, to watch these kids play and, you know, to support them. And these kids deserve the support of this city. So Vanderbilt fans out there, come to Bridgestone Arena 2:30 Wednesday afternoon and support these kids. Anchor down.
Play,
you got
everybody.
That? Yeah. Wow. He got after it, didn't he?
I like it.
Anchor down.
Let's go to
MJ Collins and Grant Huffman haven't played, or they didn't play against Georgia. Getting them back will help. I mean, especially
are they getting them back?
Well, at least MJ Collins, I know he'll probably be back. Huffman, I know isn't serious. So they getting them back, I'm with Clay, will help them. But we know their deficiencies. I mean, you know, they've got their margin is small. So, but they do need to beat Texas. Not to be in, but just confidence-wise, get another win under your belt.
Yeah. Jeff in Murfreesboro is up next. Jeff, what do you got for us?
Pretty good, George. I just want to tell Kelly, I hope the Lipscomb Baskets beat Central Arkansas tomorrow night, the conference tournament. So I hope they keep going on. But I just want to say
Kelly's going down there tomorrow. Long journey.
That's right. I hope they'll be getting a safe trip. But as far as this SEC business, as far as number of teams getting in and stuff, or whatever, 12, 13, I mean, it's always that way every year. They talk about expanding the field. I mean, Clay talks about Byington putting his team together. What about Pope? He's the first year coach. He put his team together in the portal. They're 21-10. So, but what's the deal there? I mean, we want to win the game in the postseason too. It's the same situation. I mean, I saw the awards today. They named Pearl and Broom. Broom got Player of the Year, Pearl got Coach of the Year. That's fine. I mean, it don't really matter. But I want to say it's about the NCAA tournament, that the SEC an SEC team better win it all. They better win the whole thing. I mean, the whole entire shooting match. This Final Four stuff, I don't play HDBT. I'm not playing it. Whoever gets in there, there's 12, 13, how many teams? I said 86 stores, you remember. There was 3 teams in one regional over there. It was LSU, Kentucky, and Alabama. Kentucky beat Alabama. Regional, and Kentucky beat Alabama in the regional semifinal, beat them 4 times that year. And then they lost to LSU in the finals of the regional. LSU in the Final Four. So one of these things, they better win it all. Because I'm sick and tired of it. Best conference ever, ACC, SEC challenge, XXXX. Put your money where your mouth is. I said football. They talked about dominating that, and they didn't do it at all. So they better. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, and Derek, you're the one that first ones that said it. They're the best ever. So they better prove it and quit fooling around. And I mean that truly. Y'all have a good day.
Well, I mean, you get 12, 13 teams in the league. That is the best league statistically ever. There's nothing to prove against that. I mean, this is the best league ever. That people I don't see how you could argue against that.
I'll go a step farther on it. They got to get a team in the Final Four. That's I mean, as much stuff has been thrown out about this league, and it's a really good league. Is it better than some of the ACC things in the 70s? I don't know. I mean, how do you judge that? But I know this. It's pretty damn good. Pretty close.
Really good.
Well, the good thing is you've got at least 12 teams that are going to be in the tournament have a chance to make the Final Four. That's percentages are on your side.
Now, we may never get another deal like the Big East when they got St. John's, Georgetown, Villanova, and the only non-Big East was Memphis State. It was Memphis State at the time under Dana.
Yeah.
Dana Kirk. Eric, I got a couple of minutes. Welcome.
Hey, George, because of time, I'm pretty much going to stick to one thing. I'll probably talk about free agency and the NFL and all that stuff later this week, but it's about the whole TSU thing and Eddie George. I'm real happy for him, George, and I hope he goes on to do great things with Bowling Green. I will say this, what Tony said, I think I agree with him to a point, and what I mean by this is, George, I agree with him that certainly the state has done a horrible job in funding that school, because I've got people I know who work over there, and I've got friends and family who are ties to that university, but also some of that too is on TSU for the fact that they have mismanaged funding in some areas with that school. So it works both ways. We can argue about what's more to blame, but I definitely think that all that, I agree, definitely played a part in Eddie George leaving, because I think he just didn't have to want to fool with that, and they still just tons of hoops you got to jump through, and it's just hopefully there's the right people in place at that university and with everybody involved and the board to get all that mess straightened out, because until they do, it's just going to continue to be a problem. But I agree that the funding should be better over there by the state, but also that there were people over there that were doing some of the funding of scholarships and other things, dormitory, and I don't want to get into all that stuff that kind of dropped the ball in the way they handle some things. So just hopefully, but just good luck to Eddie George, and hopefully he can go on to great things. Sad to see him go, but I'm just real happy for him. Guys, I'll get off. Y'all take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, we haven't heard the end of Eddie George probably here. There'll be a day, I don't know that he'll get back into coaching around here, but we haven't seen the last of him.
Well,
and that's a good thing.
Like, can the TSU football program be fixed? Like, what? I mean, you had a golden opportunity here. And maybe the plan all along was to have him there for 4 or 5 years, but I don't know. I wonder how does that get better?
Got to have money, man. Got to have money.
I mean,
even in small programs, you got to have a little bit of money.
You hate it. I mean, it's a local school. You know it could be better, but
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough deal because I think he got them to a really good level a year ago. You know, they get in the playoff, they get national TV exposure. I think when it's all said and done, that you know, the grade for him is a positive.
Yeah.
You know, are there some things he'd like to do differently? Maybe. Don't know. Haven't had the chance to talk to him. Hope we can here soon. I know we got to go to the break. When we come back, Kelly, we'll have the Plaster bet of the day, and you won't want to miss it. Yeah.
Call your bookie.
Yeah. Call your bookie. Go the other way. This is 94.9, The Fan.
Hey, Preds fans, the Predators hit the road this week, beginning their 3-game California road trip tomorrow night at 9:30 against the Sharks. Radio pregame coverage begins at 8:30.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
The SEC tournament is here, and so is this week's Nashville's best deal of the week from Boom Ba's Pizza and Watch Bar. Right now, get half off a $30 gift card at 949thefam.com/deals. But hurry, supplies won't last. With wall-to-wall TVs, ice-cold drinks, and mouth-watering pizza, Boom Ba's is the best place to catch all the SEC tournament action. Heading to Bridgestone? Stop by Boom Ba's East Nashville, just minutes away and home to the largest TV screen in East Nashville. And don't forget, get half off a $30 gift card now at 949thefam.com/deals while supplies last.
Safe firearms storage saves lives. That's why the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security is offering free cable locks to help Tennesseans secure their firearms. Learn where you can request your free cable lock at safestoretn.com. That's safestoretn.com. Brought to you by the Department of Safety and Homeland Security, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Another big night with a few conference tournament finals in college basketball. The Sun Belt final in Pensacola, Arkansas State and Troy at 6 o'clock. And then Wofford and Furman in Asheville in the SoCon final at 6 o'clock as well on ESPN. It's been wild on the West Coast tournament as well. Pepperdine knocked off Santa Clara. They'll play St. Mary's tonight at 8 on ESPN. And then San Francisco and Gonzaga late at 10:30. So a lot of hoops tonight. We'll see where George is going with Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. But first, we take a look over the weekend. Got a win with Bradley, -4.5. Who did they play in the semi? Was that Valpo? I think it was Valpo.
Yeah.
And then TSU covered the 3 despite losing, correct, to SIUE, I think it was.
Lost by 2.
Little Rock +3 did not work. Arkansas was a push at -1. They won by 1.
They were up by 14 with 7 minutes left when I walked into Tennessee Tech's arena Saturday. That was disappointing.
And then Liberty -3. They beat Jacksonville State and won the regular season in Conference USA.
So there we are at 4 over 500. Kelly doesn't think there's anything there to, be proud of, but nonetheless, I am proud. It's not easy to be 4
That's
over
tough
against
to do, George. You do a good job of that. That's tough to do with these points and stuff. It's just you never know.
So, Billy, punch up where I'm going tonight because we're going out west to the 8 o'clock game in Vegas. Pepperdine.
What is that line?
Pepperdine has been the big cheese so far in that Big West tournament. 2 upsets in a row. St. Mary's, they're the 1 seed. They've had the rest. But beating a team by 20 or more in the tournament is problematic.
especially a hot team.
Scores go down a little bit. And so, screw it. I'm taking Pepperdine. Plus 19 and a half.
That's a pretty good call, though. 19 and a half is a lot. Good gracious.
I was wondering why this line was so big. Well, Pepperdine finished 4-14 in the West Coast Conference.
But they have won back-to-back games, including a big upset last night of Santa Clara.
Yeah, and they actually beat Oregon State to open the tournament.
Real quickly before we get out of here, read Tony's post. Pretty humorous.
Tony on Facebook, if Kelly took the TSU vacancy, I'd love to hear the Kelly and Greg Pogue football review.
I love it.
Well, Tony, that awesome. Won't be happening, I promise.
So your name is not going in the hat?
It is not. I told y'all, I've done my coaching duties. I'm over it.
Over it.
I'm over it.
Okay. Tomorrow at 11:30, Sports Speaker Series, Ron Bargatze, Mark Griffin, Coach Richard Williams. If you want to come, just email me at plastergeorge@gmail.com. Regular show tomorrow at 3. See you then.